Hello everyone, Benoit Boursechour, February 2025 about elevators.
Elevators and trams. Yep. Broken or missing elevators in various locations, preventing access to hangars and other areas, or simply trapping players inside. Trams that either let you fall through the floor or yeet you into lower orbit. My question to you?
What the fuck? Brief history, right, of transit. This is a very old system that's been in the game for a long time. The system just needs a whole lot of changes on its communication layer to be reliable, and it needs a fundamental change in how it fulfills these orders. Instead of just sending a message to a carriage and hoping for the best, the transit manager needs to be actually always tending towards the state that it should be in, so that it can self-heal for any kind of issues, right? Whether creating the carriage failed or streaming out and losing a piece of it, the system needs to change to be able to properly do that. So that's what the new system that we're writing is going to do. It's going to solve these communication issues with streaming, and it will make the system self-heal. But we also need to do fixes to the current system immediately, right, to get that working. So now we do have a crack team on this right now, where we've significantly increased the size of the group that is looking at the current elevators issues, which we have absolutely regressed on.
At present, some amount of persons are working on writing a brand new transit system built for the server meshing reality.
Correct.
And all this stuff.
Yes.
But at the same, that's going to take X number of months to do.
Benoit said elevator metro is old code and has to be written new. They have a crack team working on it. I find it very interesting that Benoit made this Freudian slip. Yeah, we consider, we are writing it new.
So that's what the new system that we're writing is going to do. So that's what the new system that we're writing is going to do.
Here we have Chris' letter from a Sherman, December 2025. And while there were a few hiccups with some legacy systems, like elevators and air traffic control, that were built long before server meshing was conceived, server meshing itself has been working flawlessly since the beginning, a testament to the design and execution of the system by our network, backend, engine and gameplay teams. While there were no drills, those issues are still in the game even right now. Elevators, ship elevators, cargo elevators, etc. are still not working reliably. Chris, why do you make it sound like those issues are gone? Here we have Benoit again in February 2026.
I told you we get back to freight elevators.
Yeah.
So what can you tell me about freight elevators and what still needs to happen?
Sure. So the freight elevators are way more complicated than we can imagine, because they get affected by other systems like hangars, like planetary locations. There's also multiple flavors of them, top loading, side loading, and they all operate very differently. So this year, we've had issues at the beginning of the year, clearly, with the freight elevators, like losing items, obstruction, blocking them from functioning.
You said the beginning of the year, but that really came to a head in July.
Where we had even an event that would rely on them, which was, in retrospect,
Well, we knew there was a collection of issues, but we also, all of our data said they were only
localized.
Localized on this. It wasn't until we went to scale.
That's right.
That we realized, oh, this is actually even worse than we thought.
Right. It's also coupled to a couple of things, and for that event specifically, which was, we concentrated missions in key locations. That's one thing that has been in our discussions all year, was how we distribute missions, right? How we, if we launch a new mission tomorrow morning and we send everybody to the same spot, that is problematic. Not just because it's not fun, because it's a traffic jam, but also it causes other issues. And so that we learned a lot from that on the design side, I think, overall. But so freight elevators, though, so we're pretty happy with some of the core mechanics, but there's still very egregious issues that we're tracking. So there's roughly 73 total issues that we know about. The other one is a bit more problematic because we don't have a proper repro for, but sometimes there are lost items that fail if there's like a backend slowdown when things get stowed. So we have a couple reports for this, not many, but the ones that we have are critical. And so, you know, this is a kind of a rule we've set on the CGP team. So Jens and I are pushing this to everybody. It's like the golden rule for everything related to freight elevators or anything that touches inventory is a player should never lose an item interacting with these systems, right? We need trust in them 100%. And so that's why we're tracing on those issues. So there's still a lot more work required on freight elevators for different edge cases.
To summarize, in February 2025, they had a crack team working on elevators and ATC. In December 2025, letter from the chairman, Chris wrote, there were issues. No, Chris, those issues are still in the game because Benoit in February 2026 says they are still working on fixing. And here we have again a fantastic posting on Spectrum by Stuart GT, Duncan-CIG on Transport Refractor from Reddit. And Stuart GT provided links. Duncan-CIG, no, freight elevators are a completely different system though. To add to the confusion, my team now also owns freight elevators in addition to transport. We've made decent progress on them in a relatively short time with our priority for fixing exploits and players losing items alongside other core loop hindrances. Transport does include vehicle elevators, but that won't be part of this phase. This is very interesting too. Duncan-CIG, still on radar and scanning. We are focused on Squadron 42 the moment for that it's going well. Yeah, Chris put still most of his people on Squadron 42, there's still only a skeleton crew working on the PU. And don't get your hopes up, even if we get Squadron 42 released in 2026, which I am not so sure about, there will be Chapter 2 and 3. Vehicle elevators, as in using the freight elevator to bring up our vehicles. Duncan-CIG, no, as in the internal elevator in the Carrack or internal, external ones like Reclaimer. CIG has done some work on elevators, transport and ATC, but overall there is still a lot of work to do and many items, for example freight elevators, CIG is just starting to fix. I find reliably working elevators, ATC, metros very important. I find it very dishonest from Chris writing there were issues with those systems. No, Chris, those issues are still in the game. CIG himself admits it. Benoit, February 2026, and now Duncan-CIG on Reddit. I have a lot of respect for CIG's hardworking devs, QA people, coders, and artists who really want to make a fantastic game, but they are let down by the top management. Chris just does not care about the PU as long as it brings some money in, which it still does. Chris only cares about eye candy, cool cinematic, and his interactive movie Squadron 42. You can see this very clearly in how CIG is handling elevators, ATC, and metros. February 2025, we have a crack team working on it. March 2026, still not much to be seen. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Okay, Flickr is now at 66 meters and Flickr you can try to come up. 20, 13, 8. There's Flickr. Flickr coming up from underground. It worked, Flickr. It worked. Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter or on Blue Sky.